You have got to be freaking kidding me. Yep, that's the left celebrating that Luigi Mangione just had his charges dropped. How do you fix this? Where do we go from here as a country? As of course, the political and cultural societal divide is jarring. It is escalatory. It is dangerous for civil society to coexist like this. Will we? Well, don't worry. The Attorney General of this country now will get rid of the First Amendment. How lovely! And restrict more of your civil liberties and human rights from being able to fully express yourselves. Yep. As we have another just wild, bewildering moment from the Attorney General of the United States. All of this as Kash Patel is being grilled right now in hearings in Washington, D.C., as it just came out that Charlie Kirk was actually under FBI federal investigation, as other people were bringing up the fact that he was even banned on Fox News at a particular moment and time in his life, as there's a lot to talk about, specifically when it comes to this nuanced topic. I think Charlie definitely was hitting the nail on the head here in more ways than one here, and trying to destroy the First Amendment while FBI agents were investigating everything he did here highlights how there needs to be a real conversation that's needed more than ever. We're going to hope to achieve that. If you think we do a good job, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you're spending with us. As the video that you saw in the beginning of this video was shot by freedomnews.tv, and it literally shows a group of what looks like leftists, liberals. You got the character type of the soy jack and the voluptuous girlfriend here. Perfect characterizations, highlighting how they were happy because a judge just tossed 2 state murder charges related to the act of terrorism against Luigi Mangione, a lionized leftist figure that some people adore after he took the life of a healthcare CEO who was also a father. Now, it's pretty clear. As we said, as soon as the situation with Charlie Kirk unfolded last week, that was devastating and horrible and traumatic, we said this is going to be an extremely difficult fine line that the Trump administration is going to have to walk when it comes to respecting our civil liberties, but also dealing with this kind of ongoing train crash, which is the culture war that's happening within our society, which is highlighting how it is becoming less and less civil. I would say right now, with the latest statements from Pam Bondi, the situation couldn't be handled any worse than it is right now, and it's extremely disappointing because we're at a major critical juncture in our country where we're dealing with huge threats. We're dealing with a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and instead of alleviating and instead of dealing with those real serious threats and issues with determined, quick, decisive, correct action, we're saying no. We're going to take away more of your rights. We're going to implement hate speech because we're offended by what you're saying, and we're going to take away everyone's rights, Republican or Democrats.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech.
No, it's all hate. It's all free speech. Now, there's a difference, and the discernment wasn't made here, right? There's a difference between inciting violence, threatening somebody, and harassing somebody. All right. There's a lot of people in the UK that loosely extrapolate a lot of that to mean, no, you can't offend anybody. No, I'm not saying you could offend anybody. You have a right to be disgusting, right? You have a right to be vile, right? And if a private company wants to say, hey, I don't want someone vile representing the face of my company, that's a private business and enterprise, right? And there's a nuanced conversation that deserves to be had here because the cancelings that we saw a few years ago of right-wingers was top-down orchestrated by the intel agencies that now also have been running a full-on track, trace, and database investigatory type of major operation that was meant to derail, arrest, and to hinder right-wing political causes. Now, that top-down level organization that Senator Grassley just exposed, by the way, needs to be talked about, and there needs to be people who are fired from it. I was going to use another expression here, but this is not the type of environment to do that. But, Pam, what are you doing?
And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society.
So you're using Charlie as a way to say, we can't be hateful. No, you have a right to be hateful in America. That's what the Constitution, that's what America is. Now, do I like that people are hateful? No. If people are inciting violence, charge them, go after them, investigate them. Yeah, because they could be a threat against everybody. Absolutely, 110%. That makes sense. But the distinction between hate speech, again, is ridiculous. If someone says, I love abortions, that's your opinion. I don't like that opinion. Now, am I going to arrest you because I see it as hateful? No. Like, people have a right to their own political thoughts and expressions. This is catching a wide net when there's predators that you could be going after that are specific threats against everybody else, but you're saying, no, everybody has to suffer. No, that doesn't make any sense here. We're going to play the full video. Matt Walsh had some very strong things to say about this, and I absolutely agreed with him with almost everything that he had to say. Now, before talking about this, we got to pay the bills around here, and we got to do that in the most ethically type way that I found, and that is, of course, to sell good products that have good positive results on you. A lot of people sell booze. A lot of people sell gambling. I don't do any of that. I sell good products like our Sip Happens Organic Lemon Ginger Tea. And we have the white peach tea, which also is a fan favorite. This one, I don't need to promote. This one just sells itself. People buy it once and they're like, man, this is incredible. It's loose leaf tea. It doesn't leak microplastics. The reason I launched this is because I love tea, but the way most people drink tea, they blast themselves full of microplastics, whether in a plastic cup, whether in the plastic baggie, whether in an aluminum can, which is also lined with plastic inside internally. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I just want some good tea. You got to get loose leaf tea, and that's why we have our lemon ginger green organic tea, as a lot of people really like green tea. And I'm like, hey, there's a lot of cool benefits from green tea. As Simland on Twitter says, green tea is, quote, one of the healthiest beverages in the world, according to his probably own personal opinion. I don't know if it is. I don't know. But this guy says it is. Quote, it improves cardiovascular disease risk, improves heart health, improves metabolic health markers, targets all hallmarks of aging, reduces visceral fat. It's associated with lower mentality. Full thread on green tea benefits. Here's the graph, and then he links a whole bunch of studies here, randomized findings. Is this true? I don't know. I just saw this randomly on Twitter. It might work. I don't know. Do your own homework. This is like the weirdest ad that probably people will ever hear. Do your own homework before putting anything into your own body. I just know I feel good. I like tea. Some people just get the jitters and get anxiety from drinking coffee too much. And I'm like, hey, change it to tea, and you still get a nice hit of caffeine there. We only have 27 of these teas left in stock. Get them while supplies last. We are change.shop and support this independent media organization and support your huevos from being microplastic free. It's important more than ever. Okay, we are change.shop. Now, let's get back. Let's get back here to the full statements here by Pam Bondi, which even this reporter's like, whoa, what are you talking, ma'am, what do you mean? And again, when you look at Pam Bondi's record here in the state of Florida, I was a little bit critical of it because there were some warning signs, especially when it comes to speech that is hindered here in the state of Florida, where you can't criticize or boycott the state of Israel. All right. A lot of that was set up by Pam Bondi. Red flag laws set up by Pam Bondi. I'm surprised they didn't say that and that they're going to be running with that soon. And that would be extremely devastating. Here she goes on.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you. If you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle. There's
No. Do not redeem it. No. We don't want this. We didn't vote for this. We voted for free speech. We voted for people not to be arrested for their speech. Matt Walsh, there should be a social consequence for people who openly celebrate the murder of an innocent man, but there obviously shouldn't be any legal repercussions for hate speech, which is not even a valid or coherent concept. There is no law against saying hateful things, and there shouldn't be. Absolutely, 110%. Elon Musk, well said. Matt Walsh, this is really outrageous and infuriating. We're already having a lot of success fighting back against the leftists celebrating Charlie's death. We don't need Pam Bondi swooping in to throw in the entire conversation off the rails by completely missing our point and having a hate speech crackdown in the name of Charlie Kirk, a man who absolutely rejected hate speech laws. And he says this is especially grotesque. Yeah. If you look at what, and this is my response to this, said in a far less eloquent way. If people are fired, that is one thing, but going after them federally, I don't agree with. And Charlie Kirk, specifically last year, June 2nd, 2024, says, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. Now, why did he say this? Well, there was a lot of legislation up for a vote that individuals like Matt Gaetz, that were supposed to be the Attorney General of the United States, said, no, this is ridiculous. And Matt Gaetz vowed to vote against the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act because he says it's a hate speech bill. And he says anti-Semitism is wrong, but this legislation is written without regard for the Constitution, common sense, or the common understanding of words. As he's saying, the gospel itself would meet the definition of anti-Semitism under the terms of this bill. Yeah, clearly insane. And Charlie Kirk didn't stand for this. Charlie Kirk, by the way, as Brianna Morello says, was banned from the Fox News network. Why? Because of his speech. Why? Because he pushed back against a lot of the orthodoxy. Some of the things he said I disagreed with, and I publicly, was debating and talking about the concepts and ideas, which Charlie was a big proponent of, which I think was, and I think he was the most successful when it came to bringing up topics of discussions and having a national conversation on them, right? And sometimes I agreed with what he had to say, and sometimes I didn't, and that was okay. But I saw him as a net positive because he was able to debate all of the worst ideas that people were too afraid to debate. Now, there's going to be no debate if we have hate speech laws and if we have the federal government going after people because they offended some people. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. Listen, he wasn't just banned on Fox News. We also found out, specifically from Chuck Grassley, that an FBI whistleblower came to him and revealed an FBI project called Arctic Thrust that targeted groups like Charlie Kirk's TPUSA. This is a bombshell, and this is not a surprise here. I mean, we saw what happened. We saw what happened with Roger Stone, with James O'Keefe, both friends of mine, raided by the FBI. Why were journalists and pundits and political consultants raided by the FBI? You think they weren't watching the TPUSA? You think they weren't watching Charlie Kirk investigating him, trying to figure out anything he has done illegally in order to stop him, in order to target him, in order to get rid of the number one grassroots organization that was organizing young people around this country to be more right-wing and Republican and have more Christian values? You think they weren't when they were going after parent-teacher school conferences? They were going after pro-life activists? They were going after anyone with any type of impact in society. And it wouldn't surprise me if we were even in this Arctic Thrust type of operation. Now, this is the disappointing part with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. Go after these people. Clearly, they violated their positions of power. They're still working at the FBI. They still probably will be working at the FBI if Donald Trump leaves office or if you guys leave office. Fire them. Hold them accountable. Clearly, they violated the law. They went after people because of their political thoughts and ideology, which you're not supposed to do. fire them. As Senator Grassley released that 92 Republican targets, including Republican groups and Republican-linked individuals, were placed under investigation scope of Arctic frost. On that political list was one Charlie Kirk's group, Turning Point USA. In other words, Arctic Frost wasn't just a case to politicize, investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and Department of Justice prosecutors could achieve their partisan ends and improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. So today, Senator Johnson and I are making these records public for the entire country to see. I hope a lot of people are interested in seeing what the government can do when various agencies have a political agenda. Yes. And this is why she said, no, we're going to arrest everyone for hate speech across the aisle. No, you do not destroy everyone's rights and civil liberties. Matt Walsh, conservatives. We need the Trump administration to destroy the left-wing terror networks and prosecute everyone who aids and abets them. Pam Bondi. Best I can do is hate speech sludge and suing Office Depot. What? Like, stop it. You're being ridiculous. Cernovich. We don't need DOJ to prosecute hate speech. Pam Bondi really isn't ready for this moment. Not to mention the Epstein files nonsense. We need criminal acts by Antifa prosecuted RICO. Plenty of laws on the books for acts, not words. Just needs to happen. Listen, I think the left and the right now agrees. What the hell is Pam Bondi doing there? The quartering. Strike one, truckloads of Epstein evidence. Strike two, the Bindergate PR blunder. Strike three, hate speech. Pam Bondi has been very bad at her job, and I am really tired of saying it. She's also done nothing to those who abuse the legal system to go after Trump. Yeah, where's the prosecution? People are investigating. This is the offensive part, Pam. Cash, if you're watching this. You might be watching this. This is the really offensive part. You want to prove? To us that you're doing the right thing? Fix the wrongs. Fix the wrongs of the old administration. They prosecuted us. They harassed us. They spied on us. They prosecuted us every step of the way. And you're saying all you could do is get rid of our civil liberties, get rid of our rights. Thomas Massey. Hate speech is a term used by those in power to describe thoughts they don't want spoken. It's antithetical to the First Amendment. Absolutely. And again, Pam Bondi tried to explain this. She just said, hate speech that crosses the line into threats or violence is not protected by the First Amendment. And people are like, just get rid of the first 7 words. Why are you doubling down on this? Why are you trying to make hate speech a thing that the federal government could go after when it's a key core American civil right? Goodness gracious. Now, again, you call for political violence, you threaten somebody, that's different. That's not protected on the First Amendment, never was. Being offensive, being able to hurt people's feelings, yeah, okay. But now, using these blanket, open-ended statements here, come on, do better. You're supposed to be a prosecutor. You're supposed to watch over every single word. And again, Viva Frey, who's a lawyer, a friend of mine, says, but then why are you describing criminal threats, not hate speech? That law, the laws already exist, all right? Why are you saying hate speech, Jeremy Kaufman? Some people had suggested Pam Bondi might have been taken out of context. So we should all be thankful she logged on this morning to tell us she's a retard in her own words. Pam, what are you doing? Do not read the Glenn Greenwald. None of this has anything to do with hate speech, which is what Pam Bondi said was distinct from free speech. She's too dumb to describe basic laws without notes. She has too little integrity to just admit she erred. She has no respect for anyone who heard what she said. Yeah. And again, Matt Walsh, get rid of her. Today, this is insane. Conservatives have fought for decades for the right to refuse service to anyone. We won that fight. Now, Pam Bondi wants to roll it all back for no reason. The employee who didn't print the flyers was already fired by his employer. This stuff is being handled successfully through free speech and free markets. This is totally gratuitous and pointless. We need the AG focused on bringing down the left-wing terror cells, not prosecuting Office Depot for God's sakes. Yeah. If you agree with that, share this video, because this is infuriating. Beyond belief! I don't know why my camera zoomed in. I apologize that you have to see my pores. But yeah, here are my pores. Anyway. As you can see, I'm a little infuriated. What the